We looked at the Grand Valley State University Human Resource Department. GVSU was founded in 1960 by William Seidman. Today, Grand Valley continues to grow with campus and expansion through an increasing number of freshmen each year and further expansion of technology and course offerings. This gives the HR department a lot to do. Grand Valley is unique because it has a large competitive edge on schools of similar size. GVSU features small class sizes, and professors teach all of the classes. When we interviewed Linda, she said if professors want to teach, they come here. There is only a 1% voluntary turnover of staff, which is further proof that people do want to work here.
GVSU as an industry has a great reputation. In fact, faculty and staff enjoy working here. First, wages at Grand Valley are competitive. Moreover, the culture here brings in employment from around the world. Second, professors who are hired here are hired to teach, with only some research involvement included. Third, Grand Valley prides itself on being a diverse atmosphere. For instance, in the Human Resources Department, there is a map, and that map shows all of the countries that faculty has been recruited from. There are no diversity quotas here at Grand Valley. A family atmosphere is key to the tenured employment rate. Lastly, Grand Valley is a high-energy atmosphere, and collaborating with other departments is key to a global environment. Local competitors for Grand Valley are CMU, Western, University of Toledo, and MSU. Although technology is a medium threat to Grand Valley, a family atmosphere is very important to many students enrolled here. The growth rate here at GVSU is evidence that we are a great institution. In 1985, there were 8,500 students, and now in 2018, there are over 25,000 students. GVSU offers evening classes and online classes for students with hectic schedules. Also, GVSU offers competitive tuition rates for students achieving that high-level education. Finally, Grand Valley is a university that will continue to change for the better of the students.
So we interviewed Linda Uhas, who is the Director of Compensation and Employment in the Human Resource Department at Grand Valley. She started at Grand Valley in 1985 as a temporary secretary within the Office of Nursing. Within 6 weeks, she had moved to a full-time position as secretary in the field house. Later, she moved to the Academic Resources Center as an administrative assistant. Finally, she moved into the Human Resource Department, where she is currently celebrating her 25th anniversary. The HR department has a pretty direct line of organization. As seen here in the org chart, the department has a rather flat organizational structure, but they sure do get a lot done. The head of the HR department is the Associate Vice President for HR, Scott Richardson. Below Scott is an HR assistant. Following these roles are the Director of Staff Relations and Development, the HR Specialist, the Director of Benefits and Wellness, the Manager of the EHR Initiative, and Linda, the Director of Compensation and Employment. Because of her position within the organization, Linda would be considered a middle manager. She oversees the Immigration Coordinator and the Employment Specialist. As the Director of Compensation and Employment, Linda is involved at the end of the hiring process. She handles compensation for university faculty and staff, the immigration standards, and she is mostly a leader within her organization, but also completes a lot of busy day-to-day work.
According to Linda, the two most important things she does on a daily basis are planning and leading. She believes that leading is the most important thing that you can do as a manager, and you must do this by setting an example and showing what a hard work ethic looks like. She believes that no one should work harder than she does. And this is an excellent example of servant leadership by working with your employees instead of just commanding them to do a task. She's showing them how the work should look, and she's doing it by working harder than everyone else. She also believes that planning is very important. Here at Grand Valley, planning is done on an intra-department level instead of an inter-department level, so that allows them to focus more on individual team goals. She also believes that in regards to planning, a manager must listen, and that means listening to your employees and to your community. And here at Grand Valley, that is a campus-wide community. And even though you might not like the inputs or the complaints that you are receiving, you must take all of that into consideration when planning comes about. and use that to make a better campus-wide community or a better relationship with your employees or a better work environment for your employees. Doing all of this creates a manager that has a strong emotional intelligence by taking everyone else's needs into consideration. One other thing that Linda does on a daily basis is hiring. She is actually the head of hiring in HR and campus-wide. Hiring at Grand Valley is not an issue at all. Grand Valley has such a positive culture and reputation that it leads most people to us, and it is easy to find a good good faculty because people want to work here, and they will even take a lower salary to be a part of Grand Valley. This is an excellent example of Grand Valley's strong corporate culture. It is well known that it's a great place to work, and the employees want to be here, making the work environment even better. In regards to shadowing retirees, Linda finds that it's more effective to have current workers shadow a retiree so that when they retire, they can train the new employee instead of having two people work side by side, which is much more costly. Linda's role in human resources is that she heads the search committee. She is extremely involved. She reviews all applications of everyone applying, and in the end, she has the final decision of who is hired. In regards to campus-wide hiring, she's involved at the very end of the process. She will review the selected candidate as well as confirming that Grand Valley will offer a competitive salary for the new employee. She also wants to make sure that it matches internal salaries and that the new hiree will have a competitive pay compared to nearby universities so that they will be satisfied and less inclined to leave.
When it comes to evaluation, Grand Valley used EPDP system to evaluating its employees. The EPDP system is used as a communication between staff members and their supervisors. EPDP system is completed annually through multiple stages of electronic that includes automatic flow of forms. EPDP started out with annual planning and is completed with the final assessment that reflects performance over the past year. Linda said when it comes to evaluating her employees' performance, it wasn't a hard task to do. She frequently checks on her employees to make sure they are staying on task, and if there are areas that needed improvement, they can fix it from the beginning, which she prefers to do from the start so that things will not get escalated in the future. The employee first start their self-assessment and then send it to their supervisor. The supervisor then review and rate the assessment. Afterward, the supervisor send it back to the employee. The employee will set goals for the following year and send it back to the supervisor for approval. Then the supervisor and the employee will have a meeting to discuss and agree on the job responsibilities and the SMART goals. SMART goal stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Linda never has an extreme case where she needs to have a talk with her employee about low performance. Linda does it a lot when it comes to praising her employees. She said that the best compliment you can give someone is to compliment them in front of other people. If it's done over email, she always copies their supervisor so that they can see it.
Now, when we interviewed Linda, she really emphasized the age difference in the HR department as one of the biggest challenges that they will face in the next few years for human resources. They have so many older employees from the baby boomer generation that will soon be up for retiring in the next few years, and also a lot of younger new workers that are just starting out their careers in HR and have graduated recently. There's quite a disparity in the age and not much in the middle that can bridge the gap. Although Linda assured us that this age difference definitely did not hinder the workplace at all, because you have the new, young, lively employees that bring so much life and energy into the office, and the older generation with all the wisdom to help them out as they go, and just they all get along so great together. But Linda was more concerned about the wealth of knowledge that will be lost with the baby boomers retiring, and that it won't be adequately passed down to the newer generation. For example, she said they have someone that has been working in the HR department for 45 years that will be leaving at the end of this year, and that will leave a huge void to fill. So up until the past 2 years, there has been tremendous stability in the HR department because people loved working here and tend to stay for a long time. Also, Grand Valley has been a growing university in the past 20 years, and many people like to stay along and help watch and shape the growth along the way. She notes that a lot has changed in just her 32 years that she has been here. But Grand Valley will still have a lot of hiring to do in the next few years to fill all these soon-to-be open spots in the HR department. But right now, Linda stated that it's too costly for Grand Valley to hire new employees and train them to learn under the existing employees that are about to retire. GVSU just doesn't have enough in its budget to keep on 2 employees doing the exact same job. Although it would be very beneficial for knowledge sharing and making sure it gets passed down, they just can't seem to do it. But they have been doing some cross-training in the meantime, in which 1 or 2 current employees are shadowing the soon-to-be retiree and learning all they can, so that they can eventually train and help the new person in passing down the skill and information required.
So as we concluded our interview with Linda, we asked her about some things that she wanted to improve. Linda made sure to let us know that she does not think that there's a lot that needs to be improved, and she thinks their department is really great right now. However, there are some personal and university goals of hers that she wanted to continue working on. She wants to continue with the Community of Purpose program, which is an initiative she is involved in to make campus a more positive place. She wants to improve the transition process for new employees as older ones retire. There's a lot of turnover happening right now, and sometimes information gets lost in the process with so many people retiring and causing that turnover. She'd like to see that happen less. She also wants to make sure that the Grand Valley community keeps its close-knit campus community as the university continues to grow. There are some areas where she sees this starting to get lost, but wants to make sure that it doesn't happen since it's what makes Grand Valley so unique. As we concluded our interview with Linda, she gave us some wise advice for us and all of the students soon to be entering the real world. She said that everyone starts out somewhere, and it is key to be patient as that happens. No matter what position you are in, it is important that you do your best. She also suggested to always look and act the part of whatever position you want next. It shows initiative and will help you get up to that next step. Finally, she suggested that anyone in a managerial position remembers how they got there in the first place. Everyone is watching what they're doing, and they're one of the biggest role models in the company, so it is important to recognize that what you do does make an impact.